monsoonal moisture
Yes.
and some cooler temperatures this evening.
Didn't it feel delightful?
Wonderful
nice.
change.
Yeah.
80s, I mean, come on, it felt fantastic. The thunderstorms, however, are starting to ramp up, especially on the south side of town. Douglas, Elbert County, a flood advisory just went into effect down there for some pretty strong thunderstorms. Downtown Denver just featuring mostly cloudy skies at this hour. We haven't seen much precipitation, about 200s so far for today, taking us to 6,400s out of the airport. We should be a little closer to about an inch and a half as we are heading toward the end of July. On the satellite and radar composite tonight, it's been quite active, especially across the south central side of the state, the high country, looking at some really nice rain showers pushing through. Like I said, not a ton for the immediate Denver metro area up into northern Colorado, but there is that bullseye for trouble pretty much straddling the Douglas Elbert County line. Franktown, Elizabeth looking at extremely heavy rains. The flood advisory will continue until about 8:15. This cell is basically stationary, what we've expected to see today. We've already seen about 1 to 2 inches of water coming down, with more, of course, on the way. So some low-lying flooding, definitely a possibility. Like I said, few lingering showers up through the foothills in Larimer County. Another stronger cell starting to shift to the southeast into Weld County, and then off to the eastern plains, Cheyenne Wells, south through Eads and Lamar, just looking at some heavier rain showers at this hour. Temps this afternoon held in the 80s for us, courtesy of that cold front that raced through early this morning. We were in the lower 80s in Sterling and Akron too, low 90s in Pueblo and Trinidad, but the cold front did not impact the high country, that's for sure. 87 in Steamboat and 95 out in Grand Junction. You can see the climate calendar showcasing the records for today, 102 and 49. We were nowhere near those numbers. Looking at this evening's forecast, we'll drop off to about 60 degrees with mostly cloudy skies once these showers wind down by about 9-10 p.m. We'll be left with 50s and 60s for eastern Colorado, down to 39 though, getting a little cool for our friends in Leadville. Looking at the futurecast, 7 p.m. most of the action now shifting off to the eastern plains, maybe a couple of quick showers here in Denver. Otherwise by 11 o'clock we're just left with the cloud cover, but that doesn't last long. Tomorrow morning you'll wake up 7-8 a.m. some sunshine here in the city, and then we do it all over again. We'll brace yourself for another round of storms. It looks like these will roll in a little bit sooner compared to what we saw today. 2-3 o'clock they push into the Denver area and then quickly zip off to the eastern plains. You can see that bullseye for tomorrow. These slow-moving thunderstorms across the Palmer Divide, and another round around I-76 and I-80 tomorrow evening. Then by about 11 o'clock tomorrow, we'll start to see the threat for these strong, slow-moving storms to finally move out, and then a ridge of high pressure builds back in, and that brings us a really decent shot at breaking some heat records as we head into the weekend. Up and down I-25 tomorrow afternoon, we'll be under that marginal threat for seeing severe storms, and again, the biggest threat for us will be for some flash flooding. Looking at the hour-by-hour planner, storms kicking off about 2-3 o'clock, so a little sooner than today, with highs sitting in the lower 80s for us. We'll be in the mid-80s in northern Colorado, off to the plains, 60s, 70s up through the high country, and a few spots in the 80s. Looking at the super 7-day forecast, we're back to the low 90s by Friday, and then mid to upper 90s Saturday, Sunday, possibly some record heat around here. We stay in the 90s early next week before another round of storms.